Chat. Chat. Let me tell y'all something, man. Let me tell y'all something real quick. And what I'm finna tell y'all, man, is very important. And it's finna hit home, chat. It's finna hit home. Okay? The Christian life. Okay, not Christian life. Because, okay, let me not use Christian life. Just trying to live a life for Jesus Christ, bro. Like, a disciple filled life. Which is, you feel me, obeying all, y'all know. This type of lifestyle gets scary and lonely when the facts start to really settle in. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the facts is, bro. The facts is 8 out of 10 people in the world when it come down to it is not willing to live a disciple-filled life. And then the ones that is living a disciple-filled life, it's almost like we scared of each other. So it's like, in the secular world, right? Everybody feel like they just got mad options. But, you know what I'm saying? And we all know that you really ain't got too many options. And then on the like disciple side of life, it's like the options is even thinner. You know what I'm saying? Because you might be dealing with somebody that like you, and you like them back, but they don't want to lock in with you on the disciple type of level. And then, so you gotta dead those situations. And then, the ones that you might find that's on the same disciple type level with you, you and them either scared of each other, cause you and that person is both human, and y'all don't want to like knock each other off the journey, or it's a situation where it's like you too picky or the other person too picky that you trying to like, you feel me, see if you can build something with. So it's like when you're in the world, the dating pool is large, but when you trying to get serious, the chances is already slim. Then when you start trying to live a disciple type of lifestyle, bro, then the choices get like slim to none. Even though it's a million Christians out here, bro. I don't know. Cause I be seeing like Christian relationships, bro. And I be looking at them like, well, they made it work. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't know, bro. It's tough, man. Cause it's like the people that's in a disciple relationship and they married, bro. It's like, what did y'all niggas do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro. And I don't know. I'm not finna stop trying to figure it out. Cause, bro, Jesus Christ. And it's like, I can tell, bro, some of the Christian relationships that I be looking at online, chat. Some of the Christian relationships that I be looking at online, I can look at them and tell, like, yo, it's no way y'all didn't have no type of sex, bro, before y'all got together. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I think a lot of Christian relationships started, like, with a sexual attraction, and they just both came into it, like, after they was already together with each other, they both just came into agreement to, like, you know what I mean, live that disciple lifestyle. Because, bro, from my experience, gang, it's very tough to meet somebody that's on the same disciple walk as you, and y'all end up, you feel me, making a decision and just locking it down based off of y'all's walk. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's also tricky because it's like, it's also tricky because it's like, my bad, chat. It's also tricky because it's like, you don't want to do too much flirting. Because then, like, a girl that's already a disciple and on that walk, if you do too much flirting, then the girl gonna start thinking you got the wrong intentions. And it's just like, oh my God, bro. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna say, I'm not finna sit here and, like, go over the top and just say, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, be single forever. Because it's like, that's not the case, bro. I know I got a wife out here waiting on me. You feel me? And if I start putting in my head, oh, be single forever, then it's like, that's what's gonna happen. You feel me? God hear me talking all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I really be saying it out loud. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know what I'm saying? And God didn't put man on here, you feel me? Or women to just do this on their own. You know what I'm saying? Find your wife in the right way, but it's somebody on this earth for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Just gotta, you feel me? You just gotta let God lead you to that person. As tough as the road will be, you just gotta let God do his thing. You know what I mean, chat? So, with that being said, man, I'm gonna keep letting God do his thing, bro. And while he up there illustrating and orchestrating, I'm gonna just make sure I'm ready when I see Shorty. Cause it's like, while I'm looking for candidates and feeling like, well, she could be it. When I actually find the girl that's it, it's not gonna be this complicated, bro. It's gonna be like easy math. 1 + 1, 2 +, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like that. It's not gonna be no situation where, like, I'm texting Shorty in the DM or we texting and she's saying she interested, but she ain't giving the, you know what I'm saying? She not giving off the type of vibe like she interested, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, bro, when a girl is interested in you, bro, they not gonna go a whole day. They just not, bro. Girls don't operate like that. If a girl don't like you, chat, they're gonna operate in a way to let you know that they don't really like you like that. When a girl like you for real, chat, they be hugging your nuts. You feel me? Tighter than a drawstring knot on a pair of pants, or on a pair of shorts or sweats. So that's how I'm knowing, bro. Like, maybe I got some good candidates, but I ain't found the one yet, because it ain't been no simple math. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. I'm going to just listen to the signs that God is providing. Now, while I'm listening to the signs, I'm going to keep working on myself, bro, and stay in that Bible. You know, I'm kind of getting sad, though, Shaq, because we're getting through that Bible. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, well, what I'm going to do when I finish the Bible? Because, like, the Bible, chat, done got way more important than music. And I started this channel to do music. But, like, on the music journey, I learned that everybody at the top of the music game don't read the Bible, for real. I mean, they might read the Bible, but they don't go by the rule book. They don't go by the rules of the Bible. Don't get me wrong, I still love music. But I just had to change my whole trajectory, you know what I'm saying? So now that I know the truth about music, I gotta put the Bible first. You know what I'm saying? The Bible gotta go first before the music. Bible first and then the music come after, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like the lifestyle is important. The music is a plus at this point. Getting the word out and spreading the knowledge of the Bible is number one, bro. But I'm kind of sitting here like, bro, what am I going to do after I finish the Bible? Just read it, like, start again? Like, am I just going to start all over? Like, start from chapter 1, from the first chapter again, from the first book? Or do we just keep reading just like other books that line up with the Bible? That also provide great knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, man. God know I want a wife, bro. So I'm pretty sure I don't gotta wake up and keep telling God that I want a wife. Like at this point, maybe he's waiting on me to keep getting like, you feel me? Maybe he's waiting on me to keep getting right, so he can tell me where to go to find her. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when God feel like you're ready for a wife, bro, he gonna tell you where to go. And you're not even gonna know he's telling you where to go, but it's gonna be like orchestrated. It's gonna be orchestrated in your days. You know what I'm saying? And it's tricky because the devil can also try to set himself up as you meeting your wife orchestrated in your day, but at the same time, you gonna know because it's a vibe. It's the type of vibe, bro. You know what I'm saying? So just because you meet somebody in public, it don't mean that, you know what I'm saying, that's God trying to tell you that's your wife. You know what I mean? Not only are you going to meet her somewhere, or he going to tell you where to meet her, she going to have that spirit, bro. She going to have a God-like spirit to her. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be like an iffy situation or like, you know? Amen. All a nigga need in this disciple lifestyle chat is some ice cream, some clean lean. You feel me? And the Bible. That's what get me through. That's what get me through every day, chat. Ice cream, some clean lean, meaning lean with no heroin in it, and the Bible. That's the recipe, man. Until I find my way. One, two, three. Baby, don't get a double C. And it's weird because, like, we at a point, I think we at a point in the world where everybody knows that celebrity status is like staged, you know what I'm saying? And everybody that's pretty much a celebrity is pretty much like a puppet. But like they still pushing it in our faces to the point where it's like you still kind of be interested to click on a video on YouTube or just like interested to be intrigued into what's going on. It's crazy, bro. That's how you know, bro. It's just all types of manipulation going on, and that sucks. That's why you gotta stay in the word every day. That's why I'm sitting here thinking like, bro, once I finish the Bible, maybe I just need to keep doing, you know what I'm saying? Cause nigga, it's crazy as it is right now outside. I can't really, or maybe I should just read like a Bible, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever be popping up on my Bible app, maybe I should just start reading that. Kiki, you are bleeding. You cannot be jumping on the couch and stuff. You gotta kick it out here. Okay. I love you, but you can't be on the bed or the couch right now. Okay? I gotta get you some diapers. Okay? Well, how are you? Okay? But you can't come in there. Because you bleed. Don't come in here, Kiki. Don't. I know you feel like you getting singled out, but you just gotta wait till we get to get some diapers, okay? Kiki, no. Stay right here. Stay right there. I know, I'm sorry. We gonna come keep you some company, okay? But yeah, I can't really imagine. At this point, chat, I cannot imagine waking up and not getting at least one piece of word in. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like that's what I gotta do, man. I feel like that's what I gotta do. One, two, three. All right, so we're gonna do the self-improvement segment real quick. Let me go look at the video. I'm gonna go look at the video my boy sent me. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but there was a lot going on yesterday, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff I was trying to get straightened out. You feel me, on the work side of things, so. Hold on, here we go. Y'all give me a second. Okay. So the video is on. No, don't come in here, Kiki. I'm sorry. I know you feel like you're getting singled out. I promise you're not. You just bleeding. And blood don't go well with carpet. Okay? One, two, three. Go sit with her. Go give her some company. Go sit with her. I don't usually. Okay. What we doing? I think it's in my history already, so let's go to it. Hey, we better get a double D. Sigma in a car. What's that? Well, I thought it was here. I guess not. Okay. Fourth dimension. Okay, where's the video? Here we go, chat.
Fourth dimensional thinking.
Let's lock in real quick.
Or thinking fourth dimensionally. This conversation is built on the foundations of the last handful of videos that we've been discussing the concept of inner dialogue, inner conversations, inner thinking. The idea behind it is that what we are thinking, or more accurately put, what we are having mental conversations about, with ourselves in relation to people, environment, circumstance, and information is what we are imagining. And what we are imagining is being externalized in the experiences with people, environment, circumstance, and information, and circumstance on the outer world reflections, otherwise known as the screen of space. Thus, we want to understand how to evolve our thinking and bring it more into alignment with what we truly desire to create and experience. And when we use the word create, what we're really referring to is bringing forth what is in the unseen reality, as in all things exist and all things already have been created. And we are in the journey to the fulfillment or the realization of the already complete reality, which is guided via our inner dialogue in relation to people, environment.
Let's start it over, chat.
Fourth dimensional thinking, or thinking fourth dimensionally. This conversation is built on the foundations of the last handful of videos that we've been discussing the concept of inner dialogue, inner conversations, inner thinking. The idea behind it is that
Hey, no.
more accurately
Come
put,
on out
what
here.
we are
Come on.
having mental conversations about with ourselves in relation to people, environment, circumstance, and information is what we are imagining. And what we are imagining is being externalized in the experiences with people, environment, circumstance, and information, and circumstance on the outer world reflections,
Y'all can play
otherwise
out
known
there.
as
Don't
the
come in here,
screen
though.
of space. Thus, we want to understand how to. The idea behind it is that what we are thinking, or more accurately put, what we are having mental conversations about with ourselves in relation to people, environment, circumstance, and information is what we are imagining. And what we are imagining is being externalized in the experiences with people, environment, circumstance, and information, and circumstance on the outer world reflections, otherwise known as the screen of space. Thus, we want to understand how to evolve our thinking and bring it more into alignment with what we truly desire to create and experience. And when we use the word create, what we're really referring to is bringing forth what is in the unseen reality, as in all things exist and all things already have been created. And we are in the journey to the fulfillment or the realization of the already complete reality, which is guided via our inner dialogue in relation to our vision, that which we desire to experience. Now, fourth dimensional thinking is the idea that all exists right now in this moment. So if all of creation is complete and everything exists in the eternal now, then we have inner voice dialogues, which is facilitated by the true inner voice, which is distinct from mental chatter. Again, refer to the videos that we've been discussing, the difference between the two, which speaks in spirit of harmony and abundance-based realization, as in all things are possible, and here's how to do it within, which may be different than traditional five-sensory world speak. What we're interested in fourth dimensional thinking is speaking from a place of, as Neville puts it, be ye imitators of God. And by be ye imitators of God, he says, the prophet said, be ye imitators of God as dear children. How would I imitate God?
Let's start it over one more time.
The idea behind it is that what
Because I don't want to miss nothing.
fourth dimensional thinking, or thinking fourth dimensionally. This conversation is built on the foundations of the last handful of videos that we've been discussing the concept of inner dialogue, inner conversations, inner thinking. The idea behind it is that what we are thinking, or more accurately put, what we are having mental conversations about with ourselves in relation to people, environment, circumstance, and information is what we are imagining. And what we are imagining is being externalized in the experiences with people, environment, circumstance, and information, and circumstance on the outer world reflections, otherwise known as the screen of space. Thus, we want to understand how to evolve our thinking and bring it more into alignment with what we truly desire to create and experience. And when we use the word create, what we're really referring to is bringing forth what is in the unseen reality, as in all things exist and all things already have been created. And we are in the journey to the fulfillment or the realization of the already complete reality, which is guided via our inner dialogue in relation to our vision, that
sir.
which we desire to experience.
Yes, sir.
Now, fourth dimensional thinking is the idea that all exists right now in this moment. So if all of creation is complete and everything exists in the eternal now, then we have inner voice dialogues, which is facilitated by the true inner voice, which is distinct from mental chatter. Again, refer to the videos that we've been discussing, the difference between the two, which speaks in spirit of harmony and abundance-based realization, as in all things are possible, and here's how to do it within, which may be different than traditional five-sensory world speak. What we're interested in fourth dimensional thinking is speaking from a place of, as Neville puts it, be ye imitators of God. And by be ye imitators of God, he says, the prophet said, be ye imitators of God as dear children. How would I imitate God? Well, we are told that God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen.
Yes,
So again,
sir.
God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen. The unseen becomes seen refers to what he calls loyalty to the unseen reality, as in all things exist, and faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. So let's talk about imagination before externalization. So the idea is that our inner conversations, our mental dialogue in relation to ourselves and outer world experience, is what we are thinking about and thus imagining. And what we are imagining is in the process of becoming through externalization on the five sensory screen of space. He says many people, including myself, have observed events before they have occurred. That is, before they occurred in the world of three dimensions. In other words, the five sensory world. Since man can observe an event before it occurs in three dimensions of space, life on Earth must proceed according to plan. And this plan must exist elsewhere in another dimension and be slowly moving through our space. The habit of seeing only that which our senses permit render us totally blind to what we are otherwise could see. To cultivate the faculty of seeing the invisible, we should often deliberately disentangle our minds from the evidence of the senses and focus our attention on the invisible state, mentally feeling it and sensing it until it has all the distinctness of reality. For whatever the reason might be,
Let me rewind a
individuals
little bit.
we
Let
have
me
been
rewind a little
taught
bit. I kind of
before they
blinked
have
out.
occurred. That is, before they occurred in the world of three dimensions. In other words, the five sensory world. Since man can observe an event before it occurs in three dimensions of space, life on Earth and the unseen becomes seen. The unseen becomes seen refers to what he calls loyalty to the unseen reality.
Where you
As
going?
in all
Come
things
here.
exist, and faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. So let's talk about imagination before externalization. So the idea is that our inner conversations, our mental dialogue in relation to ourselves and outer world experience, is what we are thinking about and thus imagining. And what we are imagining is in the process of becoming through externalization on the five sensory screen of space. He says many people, including myself, have observed events before they have occurred. That is, before they occurred in the world of three dimensions.
Yeah.
In other words, the five sensory world. Since man can observe an event before it occurs in three dimensions of space, life on Earth must proceed according to plan. And this plan must exist elsewhere in another dimension and be slowly moving through our space.
Yes, sir.
The habit of seeing only that which our senses permit render us totally blind to what we are otherwise could see. To cultivate the faculty of seeing the invisible, we should often deliberately disentangle our minds from the evidence of the senses and focus our attention
Let me
on...
pause it real quick. My dog just doo-doo. Big turn land, little nigga. Big claw land. Big turns, then you drop it. Big flip flop, nigga. Alright, let's get back right.
On the invisible state, mentally feeling it and sensing it until it has all the distinctness of reality.
Yes, sir.
For whatever the reason might be, individualized. We have been taught that the five sensory experience is how to interpret reality. There's a certain point in our journey where we begin to think for ourselves, which is asking ourselves, what do we truly want? How do we truly want to live? As a result of asking these questions to ourselves within, we receive desires. We desire to experience something that we were taught we should not experience, or create a business, or do something that is different. As a result of thinking for ourselves, we begin to listen to what we call intuition or inner voice. Now, as a result of listening to this, we begin to interpret the five sensory data from different perspectives. And through the repetition of interpreting this five sensory data from different perspectives, we create success or bring forth results in ways that are distinct and unique to us. We might then decide to share this information with others, and as a result of sharing it with others, we are called genius or creative thinkers or unique. Some of those individuals recognize what is really going on, and we have found this via the sixth sense or intuition within. By honoring and bringing forth our heart desire, we have a greater understanding on how to transcend the five sensory meaning. The five sensory meaning, a lot of times, is based on what we would call three-dimensional thinking, which is past, present, and future. People living from their past and hoping to be somewhere in the future, not realizing the key concept that Neville speaks of, that once you have affirmed that it is done, you've actually gone into a different state of mind. And although the five sensory reality might look the same from a five sensory perspective, it is actually a different reality. Now what we do is we adjust our inner dialogue to be in alignment with our vision in relation to the five sensory data, and thus we begin to experience a joyous journey to the fulfillment of what we desire to experience. In other words, we're not overcome, or we don't feel like we are being denied by the five sensory data. We're not looking at what people say as rejecting us. We're not looking at circumstance as holding us back. We're not looking at environment as contrarian to bringing forth what we desire in a way that disempowers us. And we're also able to easily select from the experiences in the outer world, guided from within via our inner voice or flow or autotelic within, or as he calls it, compulsion from within, to encounter and guided from within in the most unexpected ways, meeting with people, environment, and certain circumstances and information that are contributing factors in a more direct sense to bringing forth what we desire. For example, say you decided to start a new career. What would it look like if it was true? You experienced the scene by mimicking the five senses in your imagination. At that point, you have completed the act of faith, and then you know that it is done. From that regard, reality has changed. Even though on the surface it may look the same, you might notice hunches and inspirations or people showing up from the most unexpected sources. You interact with these people and they lead you to a job opportunity. The job opportunity is provided to you in a way that transcends the normal five sensory way of doing things, which is applying for jobs and handing out resumes and having your resume end up in the bottom of the pile. That belongs to, as Neville calls, the world of Caesar, a certain style of doing things that is not in alignment with fourth dimensional thinking. Fourth dimensional thinking is all things exist now, and from that perspective I live, and from there unexpected circumstances and situations show up to bring forth your result in ways that oftentimes were never discovered before. He says to cultivate the faculty of seeing the invisible, we should often deliberately disentangle our minds from the evidence of the five senses and focus our attention on an invisible state, mentally feeling it and sensing it until it has all the distinctness of reality. To perform the imaginal act and to fall asleep in the assumption, or to create affirmations or any kind of stimulus for your imagination in which it affirms that it is done, actually brings you into a different state of mind. There's a sensation of it is done. Watch the video that I did on it is done, where I discuss it further. I'll put a link in the description. He says, earnest, concentrated thought, focus on a particular direction, shuts out other sensation and causes them to disappear. We have but to concentrate on the state desired in order to see it. Part of the concentration and making it easier to concentrate involves adjusting our inner conversations, ensuring that our inner conversations, more so each day, are in relation to this effect in the outer world is related to the cause within. And I have the ability to change the inner conversation and observe the changes in the outer world. More and more so each day, I'll make the changes within and observe the outer world changes. As the outer world changes to conform the inner world assumptions and beliefs, we automatically have lighthearted concentration and focus on our vision because we understand where the power is. The power is within. The power is within what he calls the Christ mind, which we'll talk about in a moment. The habit of withdrawing attention from the region of sensation and concentrating it on the invisible develops our spiritual outlook and enables us to penetrate beyond the world of sense to see which is invisible. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, Romans 1:20. The vision is completely independent of the natural faculties. Open it and quicken it. Without it, these instructions are useless, for the things of the spirit are spiritually discerned. He says, if the occurring events were not in this world when they were observed, then to be perfectly logical, they must have been out of this world. And whatever is there to be seen before it occurs must be predetermined from the point of view of man awake in the three-dimensional world. Now, this way of thinking may go up against certain beliefs and assumptions about ourselves and how this outer world, five-sensory screen of space works, the five-sensory world. And this is what we want to do to facilitate this fourth-dimensional thinking, which is all things exist and all things are here now. And the way we do this is to observe our inner dialogue of what we say in relation to the experiences that we have each day in relation to our vision. Now, the way we do this is to observe the mental conversation and reflect upon the experiences that are a result of the mental conversation. Say you have an experience on your journey to creating success where you feel rejected by the five-sensory world. On the journey to creating business success, you experience a certain circumstance that makes you think, although the making is really within, but let's just keep it simple and say it made you think that you are not going to achieve your goal. Perhaps somebody said it. They say, don't even bother trying with this business, you're probably going to fail. Now, it's important to realize that from the fourth dimensional world, all of this is happening from within, now, in the moment. Prior to that particular experience, there was an inner conversation. And the inner conversation may have gone something like this. I really don't believe that I'm going to create this. I have doubts that if this is even possible. And that doubt that was encouraged within via the inner conversation externalized on the screen of space as that person. If that doubt did not exist within you, perhaps it would have externalized as an encouraging conversation from that person or another person that affirms the assumption within. So what do we do if we have these five sensory experiences that only appear to deny the assumption, but the denial is within? We recognize that the denial is within and we change the assumptions within. Now, what we're talking about here is everything in relation to what you desire to experience. So you don't have to go about doing this with everything that shows up in your journey. And this is one of the things that I've been teaching entrepreneurs and consulting in the space of business development for the last 6 or 7 years after I transitioned out of my IT business. And what I found is that in every conversation that I would have in the coaching and consulting sessions, I would know what they were going to experience in the weeks to come based on the conversations they would have with me. Because what I was really interested in is what was their inner dialogue. And their inner dialogue was revealing what would show up. My goal was to not convince them about their inner dialogue, but rather change my assumptions about how they are. To the degree that I'm self-persuaded that they are on the journey and this is going to change within them, they would come back to the calls and they would report the increase in sales or doing the activities that they know they have to do to produce the results. This is all a result of changing my own assumption within. I did not tell them to go and change their assumption about what they're thinking. I would change my own assumption about them and they would change. This is called fourth dimensional thinking, because in the five sensory world, what we do is we say they have the problem. In fourth dimensional thinking, we say the cause is within. And by changing the cause within, the outer world and the people, environment, circumstance must conform to the changes within. Now, this requires, again, transcending the beliefs and assumptions that we have on how reality works, which can be challenging in the start of the journey. Certainly it was for me. I came across this information back in 2004 through Think and Grow Rich. And then as I continued to grow and evolve in my understanding of this information, I started to assign the power within. So I don't say give the power away. I say assign the power within to the accurate truth that my assumptions within are going to be imagined and externalized on the screen of space. And to further emphasize this, he states, all changes take place in consciousness. In other words, all changes happen within. It appeared that the changes happen in the outer world. It starts as changes within and it externalizes on the theater of the outer world through behaviors, environment, circumstance, and information, and what appears on the outer world to reflect the changes within. Now, if we do not take this concept to heart and continue to apply it, we're going to continuously believe that we are the effects of our five senses. And what we're interested when it comes to purifying our mind, as I like to call it, or adjusting our inner conversations to accurate inner conversations, is evolving our conversations to one of how it is the facilitator of our outer world experiences. And this may seem difficult in the beginning because we have a lot of contrarian assumptions that continue to externalize with persistence to deflect over to the outer world and see that as the cause. But however, when we adjust it more so each day, we reflect on the outer world and find the cause within. All changes take place in consciousness. The future, although prepared in every detail in advance, has several outcomes. At every moment of our lives, we have before us a choice of which of several futures we choose. The choices are determined based on our inner conversations, our inner dialogue. With whatever shows up in the outer world, circumstance, information, or whatever's presented itself, we have a choice within to pick and choose what inner conversation we have to observe that we end up in the direction that is in alignment with what we desire to experience, thus making the journey as joyous as the destination. Many ways to get to the destination. You can get there from a place of force, or you can get there from a place of flow. You can get there from some flow and some force. It's really up to you. But the key is understanding that all changes take place in consciousness. And if within the consciousness, the assumptions about reality is that all things exist right now, then the inner dialogue will be one of proactivity, as we like to call it, at doing all things now. Or as James Allen once said in The Heavenly Life, he says, act now and lo, all things are done. The ideal action, idea, what to do is received within if something needs to be done. When a person affirms that all power and everything exists right now, they do not experience what we call procrastination or stagnation. There are two actual outlooks in the world possessed by everyone: a natural focus and a spiritual focus. The ancient teachers called the one the carnal mind, the other the mind of Christ. We may differentiate them as ordinary waking consciousness governed by our senses and a controlled imagination governed by our desire. So that's the distinct difference. Ordinary waking consciousness governed by our senses. In other words, reactivity to the outer world, which is guiding us in a direction which appears random or not which we desire to experience. You'll know this if you feel that you're at the whim of what other people say, environment, circumstance, and information, which is based on five sensory interpretation, that you are at the whim. Now, controlled imagination allows us to reflect upon the effects in the outer world and change the cause within via our inner conversations about the outer world experiences. And it is governed by desire. So we are here to bring forth our heart desire. in the process of bringing forth our heart desire, we also inspire and be an example of how to live in fourth dimensional thinking, thus also inspiring others to do the same. It ends up being a byproduct because other people reflect what we are doing. And if we are living by desire and controlled imagination, then what we're going to notice is those around us also living by desire and controlled imagination. I noticed this as I started to work with this over the years. In the earlier stages, it appeared that many people around me were just at the whim of the outer world, seeing themselves as the effect. And then as I continued, as he says here, to control my imagination via my inner conversations, which was fueled by my desire, what I started to notice was not just the results, but being around others that also happened to have a controlled imagination who were governed by their desire. Thus, being surrounded by like-minded people, or the mastermind, became automatic. So this is a radical change of mind, thinking fourth dimensionally. He says, to the Christ mind, the spiritual mind, which in our language we call the fourth dimensional focus, the past, the present, and the future of the natural mind are a present whole. So again, fourth dimensional thinking is that the past, the present, and the future are one whole in the now. It takes in the entire array of sensory impressions that man has encountered, is encountering, and will encounter, realizing that everything exists right now in this moment, and all power exists and always has existed in this moment. It may appear that we are going through a journey, but the difference between if a person achieves the success faster or slower is based on their assumptions within. You've heard me say this many times on my videos. I've seen entrepreneurs create success through a lengthy journey of unnecessary complexity and convolution, and I've seen entrepreneurs create success through a journey of what we would call instant success, and the difference is in the way of thinking. Now, when a person does not think fourth dimensionally, and they're very identified with the five sensories, they're going to interpret it from the perspective of the bridge of incidence. They're going to say it's because of the effects in the outer world. Those individuals also tend to be very reactive. They have not yet discovered this power within on how to be truly proactive by thinking fourth dimensionally. Now let's reflect upon this using the Robert Dilts model. I'm a huge fan of the Robert Dilts model, and I'll put a link in the description on a discussion I've done on the Robert Dilts model.
No.
So on the top we got vision, and then we got identity, values and beliefs, capability, behavior, and environment. The goal with the Robert Dilts model, as I've worked with it for many years.
So basically, Chad, what I'm getting out of this so far is it's nothing that I need or want, because everything I need and want, I already got it. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta keep believing it until it happens. Basically, is what I'm getting, what I'm hearing. And that's pretty much the same thing with God. So we on the right track, but if you talking negatively, that's exactly why you gotta stop talking negatively. Because it's affecting your blessing, or it's affecting the reality that you want. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important from what I'm listening to that you have to speak everything that you want as if you already have it. And if you already have it, it's going to be way easier for God to give it to you because you got the faith. You know what I'm saying? You got the faith that most people don't got. Okay.
I found the most effective way is to identify the vision, that which they desire to experience, and to realize that the identity, the self-image, who they see themselves to be, and how they think in relation to their vision, in as much accuracy and precision of fourth dimensional thinking, is going to automatically bring forth the ideal values and beliefs, capabilities, behaviors, and environments. So I put more emphasis on the change in the self-image or the identity. Because once that identity has changed, they're going to believe reality to work a certain way. Their values are going to change. They're also going to find that they're going to automatically develop certain capabilities, if needed, to bring forth their success. Take the entrepreneur, for example. Perhaps some of the capabilities would be sales skills, marketing skills, leadership skills, organization skills. Once they have assumed the identity that is in relation to the vision, which was facilitated by the desire, they will automatically cultivate those capabilities. Is going to automatically bring forth the ideal values and beliefs, capabilities, behaviors, and environments. So I put more emphasis on the change in the self-image or the identity. Because once that identity has changed, they're going to believe reality to work a certain way. Their values are going to change. They're also going to find that they're going to automatically develop certain capabilities, if needed, to bring forth their success. Take the entrepreneur, for example. Perhaps some of the capabilities would be sales skills, marketing skills, leadership skills, organization skills. Once they have assumed the identity that is in relation to the vision, which was facilitated by the desire, they will automatically cultivate those capabilities. Their behaviors will also change to be in alignment. So there's fundamentally two ways of doing this. You can force the behavioral change, just keep trying to do it. Or you can change the identity and then find that you'll automatically do the behaviors that are in alignment. They'll also choose the harmonious environments. They will be in the harmonious environments, and they will also transform the environments to be in alignment with their identity. That is because subconsciously, they think fourth dimensionally. They no longer see themselves as the effect of the five senses, but rather the cause of the five sensory screen of space. He says, we can create a new approach to life. If you and I would spend 5 minutes every day in withdrawing our attention from the region of sensation and concentrating it on an invisible state, and remain faithful to this contemplation, feeling and sensing the reality of an invisible state, we would in time become aware of this greater world, this dimensionally larger world. The state contemplated is now a concrete reality displaced in time. The second man, the Lord from heaven in all of us, is trying to become self-conscious in the body, that he may be about his Father's business. What are his labors? To imitate his Father, to become master of the word, master of his inner talking, that he may mold this world of ours into a likeness with the kingdom of love. The prophet said, be ye imitators of God as dear children. How would I imitate God? Well, we are told that God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen. That right there is a nutshell of fourth dimensional thinking. To call things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen. So we observe our inner voice conversations. These inner voice conversations, the dialogue, the mental chatter, or the true inner voice, reflect the degree and precision of alignment with fourth dimensional thinking, or five sensory world-based past thinking. And for whatever shows up on the journey, we have the power to change it. For example, say you know you have to do something, but for whatever the reason, you can't do it. You go around and you search what other people are talking about that same experience. And because you have doubts in your mind, or you believe that it's a challenging thing to do, what you're going to find in this five sensory space that affirms that thinking within. Because many people are talking about this, that's the exact way it is. Actually, through fourth dimensional thinking, if you change the assumption within, you're going to find the evidence based on the new thinking. You're going to find the evidence also that is going to reflect that thinking. Now, let's say you change the assumption over to, it's easy to do this thing. More and more so each day, I'm finding it easier to do the things that I know I have to do. All of a sudden, you're going to find that there's information and people that are also finding it easy to do the things that they know they have to do to produce success. So on the one hand, you believe it's hard to do the things you know you have to do to produce success. So you go around and you find all kinds of information that supports that evidence. On the other hand, you change your mind, radical change of mind, and you now realize the power of fourth dimensional thinking. And you speak via your inner voice, more so each day. You speak via your inner conversation, more so each day. That it's easy for you to do the things that you know you have to do. You could say, more so each day, I realize it's easier for me to do the things that I know I have to do. I find myself automatically doing the things that I know I have to do. I find myself in flow doing the things I know I have to do. All the things that I know I have to do to create the success, it's easy for me to do those things. If I find any challenges, I'm able to overcome those challenges easily and do the things that I know I have to do. As you continue to affirm that, what you'll notice is the behavioral change and also the affirmation of that change by other people and information communicating not only that they're doing it, but more so how to do it to further facilitate it, which is also an externalization of our thinking within. So when it comes to realizing an objective, he states here, the spiritual man speaks to the natural man through the language of desire. The key in progress in life and to the fulfillment of dreams lies in ready obedience to its voice. So again, ready obedience to its voice. The spiritual man to the natural man through the language of desire speaks through the language of desire. So again, the second man, the Lord from heaven in all of us, is trying to become self-conscious in the body so that he may be about his Father's business. What are his labors? To imitate his Father, to become master of the word. If you are in the process of becoming and value the master of the word, then the second man, the Lord from heaven in all of us, is becoming self-conscious in the body. And as stated, to imitate his Father, to become the master of the word, master of his inner talking, that he may mold this world of ours into a likeness with the kingdom of love. That is our primary desire, and it is done through our heart desires. So again, the spiritual man speaks to the natural man through the language of desire. The key to progress in life and to the fulfillment of dreams lies in ready obedience to its voice. Unhesitating obedience to its voice is an immediate assumption of the wish fulfilled. To desire a state is to have it. As Pascal had said, you would not have sought me had you had not already found me. Man, by assuming the feeling of his wish fulfilled, and then living and acting in his conviction, alters the future in harmony with his assumption. So this is all done by our inner dialogue and inner conversation in relation to whatever shows up on the five sensory experience. We do not have to accept the past suggestions of five sensory experiences that we have affirmed within, that we say that came from the outer world, but rather ask ourselves from the true voice within. He says the key to progress in life and to the fulfillment of dreams lies in ready obedience to its voice. The voice within gives you the accurate assumptions and beliefs about the five sensory experience to transcend it and bring forth in a way that is accurate to how you are meant to bring forth that particular vision. And also, as a result, become master of the word, master of your inner talking, so that you may mold this world of ours into a likeness with the kingdom of love. Assumptions waken what they affirm. As soon as a man assumes the feeling of his wish fulfilled, his four-dimensional self finds ways for the attainment of this end, discovers methods for its realization. Now, this is very much accurate to the discussions that we've been having over the last 4, 5, 6 videos. So we'll repeat it again. His fourth dimensional self finds ways for the attainment of this end, discovers methods for its realization. So the key part of this is finds ways for the attainment of the ends, discovers method for its realization. Part of it may include, and sometimes to a large degree, transcending all past ways of doing things that have been assumed as the only ways that it can be done based on five sensory collective knowledge. The five sensory collective knowledge is still a small percentage. Take all the books, all the trainings, all the programs, everything as far as knowledge goes that is there, is still only a small percentage of the potentiality that is found by the fourth dimensional thinking. And we don't have to know how this is going to happen. We just have to carry the inner conversations, the inner dialogue in relation to whatever shows up, to that of what is in relation to fourth dimensional thinking. And that is to call things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen. That means to change your assumptions and beliefs about the five sensory experience received by the true inner voice, in a way, inner dialogue, that the unseen becomes seen, that it is that way now. I have no clear definition of the means by which we realize our desires than to experience in imagination what we would experience in the flesh were we to achieve our goal. This experience of the end wills the means. With its larger outlook, the fourth dimensional self then constructs the means necessary to realize and accept the end. Once we have imagined that what we desire to experience and that we know that it is done, then all we have to do, should we choose to do it, to make our journey a lot smoother, is to change our assumptions and beliefs about whatever shows up on our journey, because we're going to receive the accurate hunches and inspirations within of what to do. And we just change how we relate to those things that we know we have to do, or whatever on the journey. Any kind of void, frustration, stress, my success is not here now, or any kind of meaning like that within. That's all we have to do. Because the fourth dimensional self is already in the process of bringing it forth. And it'll happen unto and through you. Another way of looking at it is just allow this five sensory screen of space to rearrange itself. Don't try to manipulate it or try to control it. Allow it to change. It is in the process of changing. The more you release or let go of trying to change it, the more you will find the accurate way of facilitating it. So thus, when we look at the Robert Dilts model, if there are behaviors and capabilities that are to be brought forth, they are actually in contribution and not unnecessary added complexity and convolution. So I'll see this in the entrepreneurial space. Someone's looking to build a business and they come up with all these sophisticated systems and processes, and it has nothing to do with producing results other than further facilitating their three-dimensional thinking, which adds unnecessary complexity and convolution. Now, on the flip side, I'll see other entrepreneurs who understand how this stuff works, either by working with it or somewhere down the journey, they align themselves with fourth dimensional thinking. They get an idea, they act upon it, and they create very lean and simple businesses. Or if they do put systems in place, they are refined systems and they're accurate to facilitating the results. Their KPIs and their performance is continuously increasing. The results are increasing and they have less stress and more flow versus the other entrepreneurs. And the other entrepreneurs are more identified with three-dimensional ways of doing things, which are past assumptions that they've assumed to be true from five sensory interpretation that is not in alignment with fourth dimensional thinking. More and more so each day, we want to align with this fourth dimensional thinking, which in a nutshell really is yielding completely and surrendering to the idea that that which you desire to experience is already happening through you and unto you right now. And all we have to do is allow it to happen. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Dwell in the end and you will hurt no one. This is the title of today's discussion regarding quotes from Neville Goddard to articulate the concept of the already created and complete reality, and that all things are done and we choose what is done unto and through us, as well as shattering delusions. One of the things that I learned on this journey, and in retrospect makes even more sense today, which is why Steve Jobs talked about connecting the dots looking backwards, is the realization when I was in my mid-20s working on a IT certification for my corporate job. During that time, I was in deep study and reflection on internetworking, which is a form of technology. And during that time, I was reading some books on spirituality. Now, the interesting thing was, I found a lot of parallels. And this was back in 2004, 2005. Parallels between technology and what was being discussed in.
That's a whole new topic. I'm gonna holler at y'all in a little bit, chat.